My name is Ryan Scoff with Military Memories and More, and today we are going to be a demonstration video on how we mount and frame name doilies. Okay, before I get started on the assembly of this doily, I'm going to give you a rundown of the tools that I use here. I use a number 2 pencil, I use a tape measure, a straight edge ruler, and you'll need a light adhesive tape. I recommend the Scotch 811 tape. It works perfectly for these type of displays that I'll be showing you here in just a minute. And we were out at a Frame Expo in Vegas last year and came across this gold mine. It is a attaching tool that you're going to get to see here in just a minute that has made our life so much easier, and it makes your displays just look that much more clean and that much more professional. You'll see here in just a minute how it works. Alright, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get the doily laid out on an area that I can work with it on it. You want to make sure that it's nice and flat and pressed down. If need be, if it's kind of creased up, you can take an iron to it prior to doing this step here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tape measure and get my overall length. And I find that in these type of displays that having a 2-inch border all the way around the mount is a perfect amount of space to show off whichever color of mat board that we're going to mount this to. As you'll see here, I'll add my 2 inches off on the left side here, and then I'll add 2 inches off onto my right and expand out, and it looks like my overall dimensions on this is going to be 27 inches wide. Do the same thing with the height of the project. Add my 2 inches. So this looks like it's going to be a 10 by 27 is going to be the overall dimensions that we're going to be working with today. So the next step that I would do is go and cut my mat board, and then what you want to attach that mat board to is we like to use 1/4-inch foam core, which you can see here I've pre-cut the piece that we're going to be working with today. And when I lay this on here, you'll see how it's going to start to look. Get an idea of where that's going to be. Looks really good. I think we got this cut perfectly. And of course what you do is you'll take this mat board and glue it down to this white foam core piece that I've cut. And I use weighted blocks to press down on this and let that sit for about 10 minutes, and it takes pretty quick when you use a quick. Alright, so the next phase, this is where the ruler comes in. You're going to find your 2-inch margin all the way around. And I automatically know that once I put the frame over this mat board, there's going to be a 1/4-inch lip over here that I can work with so that I can make little tick marks, which you'll see here. Measure up and get my 2-inch mark. And what I'll do is use my pencil, make a small tick on the 2-inch mark there. Come down to the far end. Do the same thing, make a 2-inch tick mark. And I'll do this all the way around. You want to make sure you get it all on all 4 corners. Try to be as accurate as possible, that way that your lines are going to be straight here when I show you the next step. So we got those ones done. Now I need to get the vertical 2-inch marks. Getting to the last one here, and then I'll show you how the tape works. It comes in real handy in this next step. Using a light grade adhesive tape like the 811, when you lay it down on the top of this mat board, you don't have to worry about it peeling up the paper colored of the matting. So next, here's where you use the 811 tape. Oh, I'm going to find my 2-inch tick mark, hold it down, stretch this across and find my other tick mark. So now I should have a 2-inch line. Using my ruler, see if I'm at 2 inches all the way down the mat board here. Looking pretty good. So then what I'll do is just tear that off of there, come down to the next line, just see if I don't get it quite right, I can peel that and work my line back down, and I'm not having to worry about any tearing due to the fact of the tape that I am using. Now I'll get the ruler out and check my 2 inches here. We are right on the money. And I'll do the same thing for the sides. Get my 2 inches. Again, double checking myself to make sure that I'm where I'm needing to be. We got one more side to go. I can see my marks. And you can see where the grid line's starting to happen, where this doily's going to be laying up in there, and we'll start tacking it down here in a short minute here. Double check. Just a tad. Now we're cooking. There we go. Alright, so that phase now is down. How that tape, what I've done is created my guidelines for the whole entire perimeter of this layout. And when I lay my doily in there, you'll see that all the edges of this should meet up with the edge of the tape, which is exactly what I'm wanting. And this is where our attaching tool that I was just about a few minutes ago is going to come into play. Okay, I've got my attaching tool. I'm going to start off on this far end over here first. And what you want to do is make sure that each one of these pieces here is butted up to the edge of the tape, and we'll take this attaching tool, we stab it through and make our attachment, and we'll move on to each individual one. You want to make sure you tag down each one of these here, so it can get a little time consuming, and you do want to be accurate with it to make it look even. I've got this whole end done. What I'll do now is I'll work down over onto the other end, get this stretched out. Once I get this whole end attached, then what I'll do is go back and forth, do a little bit on this end, come down onto this end, and then just work it back and forth until you have them all. Okay, now we've finished up tacking down each individual point on the name doily, and what you should have is something that looks something similar to this. It should be centered inside that tape box that we've created, and now from here what you can do is remove that tape, and you see how that light adhesive tape doesn't do any kind of damage to our mat board that we've tacked down to. There you go with it. Okay, now that we've got all the tape and everything removed off of our mat board, the next steps that you would want to do is actually select your frame and cut and assemble the frame, and then also cut the glass down to size for what the project is going to be. And I've already cut the glass ahead of time, and the customer has selected a frame. So I'll bring that here into the picture now, and we'll do is lay this piece that we've got down inside our frame and glass, and what you end up with is a finished product that looks just like this. Turns out really good if you take your time, and it also helps having the proper tools. As you've seen, that attaching tool is pretty priceless. Alright, well that concludes our demonstration video on doily mounting for the day. If you have any questions, you can reach us at 309-289-0090, or feel free to visit us on our website, militarymemoriesandmore.com. Thank you.